Good morning. Good morning. It is Thursday. A very merry Thursday to you. How are you doing? Welcome to the Show Rise Up show with me, Danny Wallace, the Queen Bee. How are you? Come on in. Come and get a cuddle. This is our 8 o'clock live. I've had guests every single day, Monday to Friday, and will do for the foreseeable. The cool thing is that this is growing into a bit of a thing, y'all. We've got guests going through right up until July now, from all over the world, all sorts of different backgrounds, people that are starting out in business, people that are in business a long time. We've got celebrities. We've got all sorts of people joining us on this show. I've got people starting to like knock on my door and say, Danny, can we come on your show? And I'm like, yeah, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Danielle. Good morning, Emma. Good morning, Hannah, who is loving her new 8 a.m. groove. I love that. Good morning, Tracy. Noodle wants a cuddle, apparently. Who's Noodle? I used to have a cat called Noodle. Diane Ivory. Good morning, Diane Ivory. In fact, Diane Ivory, you put out an incredible idea yesterday, did you not? And this is like a testament to the times of people that are starting to think about, oh, what can I do? How can I pivot? How can I do things that are going to support people? So Diane Ivory has a company called Forensic Minds. And what she does, or what she did prior to COVID-19, and we're going to talk about this when Diane comes and joins us, because she's going to be a guest, and I'm super excited to have her on the show. But she like run murder mystery nights with a little bit of a scientific twist. And yesterday she posted out that she's going to do or work out how to do properly lessons for kids. So I'm going to be snapping Diane's hand off for that. So I'm really excited to speak to her when she joins us. So we've got some absolutely incredible guests coming up for you. In fact, I'm going to share with you who's coming up tomorrow and who's coming up next week before I invite our guest on this morning. So we've got the amazing Dave McPartlin from Britain's Got Talent and BBC Bite Size. And of course, Flake Fleet Primary School here in the Preston area. He's going to be joining us at 8 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to be talking all things education. We're going to be talking all things lockdown. And of course, we're going to talk about his journey to national treasure and superstardom from the education perspective. So that'll be tomorrow. Then we've got Deep Bajwa from Opulence Events in London, who's going to be sharing with us how she's been pivoting things in the past 6 months. We've got the wonderful and the delightful Emma Roscoe, who has joined me every single morning since we've started our little lockdown lives. We've got the beautiful, I don't even know whether to tell you this or not. I think I'm going to go for it. I'm going to tell you. We've got the wonderful Sophie Austin, formerly of Hollyoaks, who's going to be joining us on the 6th of Wednesday. She's a lovely friend of mine. We've been hanging out together for the past couple of months after being in an event, and she's going to be joining us. So you will know her from Hollyoaks. You will also know her from Call the Midwife. And she's just the most incredible actress. She's going to be joining us on Wednesday next week. That's Sophie Austin. We've also got the fabulous, which Nikki have I got? Nikki Sprosson. We've got the wonderful earth angel that is Nikki Sprosson is going to be joining us. And I've just closed my calendar down because I'm an idiot. And then Friday next week. Who have we got Friday next week? We've got the beautiful Dipti Solanki who's going to be joining us. So, yeah, we've got some really incredible guests coming up. And today is no different. Today's guest is one of my beautiful, beautiful friends. We've been kind of around in each other's circles in business longer than we probably have given ourselves kind of credit for. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how small the world is in just a second. I'm just going to say good morning to a few other people before I bring her on. We've got Tracy, good morning. Oh, it's her daughter, sorry. Good morning. Good morning, Amanda Lawson-Stoner from ALS Safety. How are you? How are you? Annie Cameron in the house. Diane's done a supermarket shop. I'm just off and just out of the bath, ready for the day. And she is showing up, wising up and rising up this morning, Diane. Tiff, we are having cuddles. Amazing. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, we've got Lisa Johnson, who's not going live herself at 8 o'clock this morning. It's nice to have you just coming in for a cuddle and to chill with us. We are live. We are hitting up Thursday. We are being joined. I give her some love by hitting love. The incredible Chelle Shohet. Good morning.
Good
I
morning.
love how this is getting even more like breakfast show. So we have now a resident stylist. We was talking about the weather yesterday. And instead of actually having a weather person on, what we're going to do is wherever anybody is watching. So we've got Julie Kempson. She's in Tenerife this morning. And then we've got Wales in the house. We've got Scotland in the house. Where are you watching from? Look out the window and give us the weather. What is going on? So what's happening where you are, Chelle?
I've got blue skies this morning.
Yeah.
I've actually got some blue skies. I can see some blue.
Oh,
there's still clouds, but there's some blue.
We are still up in Preston. We are grey. What's happening where you guys are? I am the Queen Bee movement. Whereabouts are you in the world, and what is happening outside? Let's share the weather. We don't need meteorologists and such. We're all right. We can stick our head out the window and we know what the weather is. Sunny and blue skies in Bexhill, East Sussex. I love it. With a patch of rain. North Wales is wet this morning. No Marty Pillow, just the rain. Marty Pillow. Overcast in South Somerset. It's sunny blue sky in Tenerife. Of course it is. So how, Julie Kempson, who's watching along from Tenerife today, what's happening with your friend who's living over in Spain? That lockdown is starting to just be relaxed a little bit, because I know things have been really sort of tough in the Canary Islands, like you've not been able to go out for walks and stuff.
Yeah.
So your stepsister and one of our former guests, Jane Baker, has been on a really tough lockdown over there.
Yeah, they've been in lockdown longer than us, and they literally were not allowed out of the house. So they could go in their garden with the pool, but they couldn't go outside the house. And the kids only yesterday or the day before yesterday were allowed out for the first time in almost 6 weeks. For a 10-minute walk. Adults can't go for a walk on their own. They have to only go out if they've got the kids with them. And before that, if you went shopping, only one of you could go. So her or Lloyd would have to stay in the house with the kids while the other one went shopping. It was really, really, really tough.
Oh my gosh. We've got Croatia is full of sunshine this morning. I love that. We are now global, Chelle. How amazing is this?
This is amazing.
Gemma James is not out of bed yet. Get up, you lazy sod. Come on, up you get. Right. So how interesting is it? Like, I didn't even know that you and Jane Baker were related until the show.
Yeah.
Like, she was on the show. We've been hanging out for a couple of months now. Me and you have been hanging out since like before Christmas.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, because she's got a lovely lilting Welsh accent, hasn't she? And she was like, oh yeah, she's my stepsister. And I was like, that was a really shit Welsh accent. Just showed myself up then, didn't I? And she's like, oh yeah, she's my stepsister. I was like, you're both my friends. I don't know this.
Yeah, but it was the same when I didn't realise that Sarah Stone is your cousin.
And she is, yeah. And she grew up with me.
And like me and Sarah are really close, and I love her to bits, and like been working with each other for the last couple of years. So
this is it. And families are funny things. Families are funny things. And like where Sarah and I are concerned. So if anybody doesn't know, Sarah, you can find Sarah Stone. She's just the most incredible photographer, and she is the most incredible. Oh, because she's such a talented creative, isn't she? Yeah. Like you can tell, she does like branding photography for people, lots of other things too, but she specialized in branding photography for people. And you can tell when, she's been featured in OK Magazine, Hello Magazine. Her photographs was in the Metro just a couple of weeks ago. She's super, super talented. But there were a period of time when we weren't allowed. There was a lot of family stuff that went on. So we were brought up like sisters. And I've been talking this week about, things were a little bit chaotic when I grew up, and she was part of that revolving door of cousins that came to stay with us and live with us. And then things happened as we kind of got a bit older between our families. So like the elders And then we weren't allowed to speak anymore for a while, for a long while, for about 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And I was like trying my very best. I'm like the member of the family that is like the secret linchpin. So I would like make sure everybody was all right. And I was like, when it's time, everyone's going to come together. I'm going to trust it. And then in the last couple of years, that started to happen again.
Yeah. And it's lovely when it does, doesn't it? When it falls back into place. You just have to trust. You just have to kind of hold on and hope.
So let's talk about you.
Nah.
Because you are stylist to the stars. You're stylist to speaking stars, particularly. You know, you dress lots of speakers for the stage. You you know, you help people within corporate, like work it. Like, so tell me, Chelle.
Yes.
Tell me about what it is that you do, where it is that you go. Let's talk about you.
So I have a background in fashion design. So I'm a fashion designer by trade. Like, that's where it all started for me. I loved, my family is all medical, like nurses and mental health nurses and all of that. So I think I was expected to go down that route, but it wasn't me.
No.
It's
really a calling, isn't it, working within any kind of care sector?
I tried it. Followed in the family footsteps and tried it. And no, it wasn't me. I love helping people. I love supporting people. I have all the time in the world for kids with special needs and everything like that. But it's not something that it wasn't my calling. It definitely wasn't my calling. Where I get pleasure is creative. And I have a knack. I will take like a mannequin, like one of the ones behind me, and I just create outfits. That's my downtime. That's what I love to do. I just pin them and create different shapes and things.
Wow.
And so I have a fashion design and technology. So how to make the clothes and draping and everything. That's kind of
I need you to drape me for the stage. I need you to like.
Do you know what? When I do gowns for galas and things like that, if we can't find something when we go shopping, and if the client's got a vision or I've got a vision for them, it's exactly what I do. I get my drapes out.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because it's not hugely used very much now as it used to be. But I'm one of those like hands-on designers. So I like to go up to you and I will literally wrap you in material and start pinning away.
Yeah, and creating shapes because that's the thing with fashion, isn't it? It is about creating shapes and creating aesthetics as opposed to trying to hide yourself. And I think that things have been skewed over the years, haven't they, particularly with fashion. One of the things I absolutely adore about you and your methodology is that, you know, whoever you're dressing, whatever size they are, you know, I'm a size 20 to 22, and I make no secret of the fact. I mean, you can't hide the fact that I'm a size 20 to 22. I'm not ashamed of it.
No. And nor should you be.
No.
Because it's you. And that's the thing. You know, you've got to get comfortable in your own skin, and once you're comfortable in your own skin, then it's about turning up the volume on that, and then bringing to life different aspects of your personality, bringing out what makes you smile and what makes you comfortable and happy, so that you can then stand on that stage and totally own it without worrying or without being uncomfortable or self-conscious. Because if you try and be somebody else, like the fashion shows are great for inspiration, but if you're trying to be that model or trying to be that celebrity, you're never going to carry it off because they're not you.
No,
Style and fashion are two different things. I love fashion, but when someone nails their style, oh my God.
Claire Clark's just saying Danny's loud enough, she's already in full volume. That's because the difference because I would never describe myself as fashionable. I would never in a million years describe myself as like, I see something in a magazine, I go, oh, I'm going to go get that because it's like fresh. So I will have things for years and years and years. Yeah. And the thing that I've got to grips with over the course of the years is my style.
Yeah.
Right. And it was really interesting as we were getting to know each other, because what we got on a call, didn't we? In fact, this is how we met, isn't it? Tell everybody how we met, because I love this. I love when people make friends with me in the same way I make friends with other people.
So we kind of have been around the same circles for quite some time. Probably, like you said in the intro, longer than we realise and give credit for.
Probably about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I think so. I was looking, and you and me pop up in the same sorts of circles with the same sorts of connections for that time, and yet we'd never really spoken. And then you started with the IATQB movement, and I got a call out from Abigail Horn.
Yeah,
who I've worked with closely for the last 3 or 4 years.
So Abigail Horn's the owner of Authors & Co. So she helps lots and lots of different
and
people write their books, create their books, and launch their books. So she's got a whole raft of #1 bestsellers in her nursery of book writers. Hasn't she? She's incredible.
Yeah, we were. I was a co-author of one of her first books out. So She Who Dares. And and then all of a sudden, then you appeared in Lisa Johnson's groups, and you were working with Lisa. And Lisa,
because I told Lisa we were going to be friends.
Yeah, and Lisa was at the time one of my neighbours. She lived the street behind me, and I did pretty much what I did online to you. I did in person to her. And one day I just thought, do you know what? I want to bring more of the stuff I'm doing offline in the corporate area, kind of bring it more online and work with more entrepreneurs and people who want to get in front of the camera on social media and do their websites and things like that. I want to do that and get people who are on stage sharing messages, not just trainings and inspirational talks within companies.
Yeah,
because the companies were hiring me, but then I can't talk about it. So I literally just dropped into your inbox and went, "Hello, hi, can we have a call?
I noticed you around. Like we're going to be friends, and there's some way that we can collaborate. I want to work with you in some way, shape, or form. What does that look like? We need to at least sit down and have a coffee. I've seen you knocking around now for too long for me to ignore you. Let's do this." And it is. Yeah, because I'm terrible. Because I've lived life at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and those people that are in my world will know this, and they love me for it just as much as if they need me, I'll drop things. But to just get me pinned down for stuff is really difficult sometimes, because I do everything that you see me do online is actually what I'm doing. If I look busy, it's because I am busy. I'm not. I don't just look busy. So you kind of you was just let me know when you want to book in for this coffee. We're going to book in for this chat. And I'm like, she's going to sell me something. I don't think I'm there for that. I don't know. All right. Okay. Let's do it. Because this is how I make friends with people. Whenever I want to, if I see someone, I want to catch them. I always explain to people it's I've got a Pokemon ball. And I'm a Pokemon trainer, and in my Pokemon ball are all of my friends, my tribe, the people who I choose. So I go around and find people, and I'm like, I choose you. So you're in my Pokemon ball now. Because once we got together, it was we were just a meeting of minds.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to tell people about our similarities and our methods as well, because I didn't realize that that could happen. But so I've done that with everyone who's in my circle right now. If I look at the people that are going to be joining us on this show, they are people that are in my Pokemon, in my world. These are my friends so far. I think it might grow to where there'll be people that don't know me, but I like the fact that I'm connected with everybody and they're all in my Pokemon ball. But it's been very much I choose you, and you came along to me. It's I choose you. I'm I'm here for this.
Because you don't always know when someone comes and is right up at you, whether or not they are going to try and sell you something, or they have ulterior motives. But I'm a bit like you. I'm no, I am a connector. I am a collaborator. I love to support as well as share my talents. I love to support and showcase and highlight and everything like that, which is, you know, you've worked alongside me. I mean, a few weeks ago we were on stage together at
loved being on stage with you. I loved being on stage with you. And you know what? It was so a few weeks ago, a couple of friends of ours actually created just the most wonderful event for International Women's Day. It was called Womanifest. And there were lots of speakers on through the day. There was just the most wonderful stalls there, the most incredible vibe. Like, people came from across the country to come to it. It was just the most amazing event. And you were like the highlight of the middle of the day. And it was like, I don't know if any of you used to watch this back in the 80s and the 90s, really, the clothes show.
Yeah.
Is Wallace getting dressed behind there? We're playing Wallace Roulette this morning, everybody. This is now a changing screen for Wallace. He's currently naked behind here.
He's going to come out and do a catwalk for us.
He's looking like he's looking super stylish in his vest.
Yeah.
So Sharon's saying, I wish I had Danny Wallace's energy right now. Otherwise, amazing now that I have coffee. So what we got to do, because I'd never seen you on stage before, because I invited you to come and speak in my group. One of the things that we did when we initially connected was sort of agree with each other that it was definitely right that we was in each other's world.
Yeah.
If I had anything huge coming up, I would come to you and I was like, girl, you got to dress me. Although because I have my own merch line, because I'm a lazy shit. One of the reasons why I have a merchandise line, one of the reasons why I have apparel is because I don't want to have to think about, other than my headscarf, I don't want to have to think about what I'm wearing.
But that's wise. That you've worked it to your own advantage and you enjoy wearing it. But like you say, it's the headscarf and your makeup and how you finish it off, your golden threads, your that's you. That's what elevates it for you. That's what finishes it off for you.
Yeah, that's it. But so you've come in and done some lives to help the IATQB Hive, work out, their own style, and you'll be coming in sort of sporadically to do that. You created your own community where we can learn more about that. But I'd never seen you on stage, and it really was lovely to see you really step into, because you were nervous.
Oh, I was so nervous. I've done smaller stages. I've done to hundreds of people, don't get me wrong, but it's always been a workshop. And it's always been the case of if I've done a huge catwalk or anything like that, I've been the stylist. So I've been backstage. I've not been.
You were hosting the stage.
Front. I was hosting. I mean,
you were got one.
Yeah, I was. And Jodie and Roxy, who own the Ladies Life Lounge, who were presenting Womanifest. It was their event. Yeah. They were presenting everybody else. So they were introducing all the other speakers, you included, for every other segment. And it dawned on me on Saturday morning, as I'm getting everything ready, it dawned on me, they can't actually do that for me because they're in the show.
Yeah, they were the models in the fashion show.
And I had you, I had them, I had a number of other amazing ladies who had all volunteered. So they were all different shapes and sizes, and we had last minute changes because of the COVID situation. Certain people couldn't make it. So it was a moving feast.
Showing the apparel that we were wearing and how you were styling it, really, even the day before.
Yeah.
On the day it changed.
On the day it changed, because to try and get you all from different parts of the country to come to one place wasn't achievable, unfortunately, ahead of time. Plus, the boutique that we were using, their staff, Anna's beautiful Flair boutique, she was constantly changing because she's amazing at doing events, and she had events almost every single week for weeks and weeks before the event, which meant that her stock was constantly changing. So I literally had to go and pick your outfits literally the 2 days before. And then on the day I had to hope and pray that they would work, and if they didn't work I had to tweak them. And literally I was dressing you in the hour before we went on stage. I was literally given the details of certain people within the team literally that morning, because they changed out for somebody else. So rehearsing was really difficult. And I just kind of when you're working towards something and you put it to the back of your mind, and you just have belief that you're gonna just do it. You gotta
trust that it's gonna happen.
I totally committed to Roxy and to Jodie that I was gonna be there and I was gonna show up. And I used it. I'll be totally honest. I had a dip in my own mental health last year, and I used it as my goalpost. Right, I've got to get everything back on. I've got to show up, rise up. Literally on that is, if I haven't done it before, I have no choice.
You can't back out of it. You committed to something now, and here you are, and that's and sometimes doing that, putting your own back against the wall. It's really interesting. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, one of my clients. She's amazing. And she was talking about the fact that although as humans in the commercial world that we're in now, this construct really that's outside of the animal kingdom, that are the bit of our brains that is still animal are in, we tell ourselves all the time that we want to change or we want to create something, but actually we only ever do it when our back's against the wall, when all choice is taken away. So we kind of love that we have all this choice and we can choose all these things, but actually it's only really when the gun's against your head, when the going's getting tough, that those changes can be made. So when you create an event for yourself like that you can't get out of it. And a lot of people do this when they work with me through the mastermind, when they've got Be Inspired at the end, they can't get out of it. They're signing up, they're speaking on the stage, and a lot of the deliverables are based around that event. So whether they get their photography, whether they get their videography, whether so that they can go out and get booked again, everything is geared up towards this event. So they can't get out of it. So they have to do the work. Otherwise, they do what a lot of people do is sign up for a course and then don't complete it. Well, they don't complete because they haven't got the back against the wall for something. So you're reliant on everybody completing it in order to make this incredible event happen. So it's very much for yourself, giving yourself that you can't get out of this thing. So you're gonna have to get your shit together.
And I told you after the second day, I literally walked out on that stage and had an almost out of body experience, because I heard a voice I had not heard before, and this energy, and I literally just took to that stage and owned it. I had to don't forget, I took to that stage. You were on my team. Jodie was on my team. Roxy was on my team. And you guys literally were owning that stage. You could own any stage you walked on. So I was like, holy cow. I've got to be higher than them guys, because I've got to present them, and I've got to hold that stage and keep the energy going. And I was blown away by the feedback.
Because you absolutely nailed it. You rocked it. But here's the thing. When we were saying earlier this week, the Jim Rohn saying there's some of the people that you surround yourself with. What you experienced there was a live, in the moment experience of that, where you saw who was to the left and the right of you, and you was like, well, I've got to really show up here in order to maintain the quality that these guys are now all expecting. And you completely turned it up, and it was like you'd always done it. It was like that was your job. And I remember saying to you when we got off stage, you need to do that. That needs to become some sort of thing that you can go out and do.
I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed it and loved it. I've always loved doing workshops, and always loved doing the teaching, whether it be in a small group or from the stage to 200-300 delegates within a company and things like that. I quite enjoy that. But oh my God, that day I was doing it to almost I didn't really know who was in the audience, but I knew who I was on stage with.
Yeah.
Yes, Lisa is saying totally sums who you are,
Yeah.
who you're with. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it is important. And, I know even now we're only like 6 weeks into doing this at 8 o'clock every morning, but it is a recurring theme. And there's a reason why things are cliches is because they're true. The reason why things are, are sayings is because they are deeply rooted in truth. And being able to put yourself in a position where your back is against the wall a little bit, where you're surrounding with yourself with the people that you kind of aspiring to be like. These are my peers. This is the level at which I'm working. I best show up, because otherwise I'm not working at that level.
Yeah. And I've had times like my business as right from day dot when I went solo. So when I started in fashion design technology, I ended up going traveling, came back, I ended up in the luxury goods industry, worked my way all the way up, and was 7.5 months pregnant when all of a sudden the company just got decimated due to one thing and another after the downturn and everything else. But it meant that I literally overnight lost my job at 7.5 months pregnant, lost the security of the package that I'd negotiated to have for the following 2 years, because I traveled a lot with my business, with my work, and the business. And so I was going to take Dexter with me. I was going to have a nanny on board. They were going to cover things. It was amazing, the package. No one else was going to give me that. So I was like, okay, so what do I do now? Okay, I'm going to take a couple of months. I had the baby, had a really rough time straight after because he was really poorly. And then I was like, right, okay, what can I do? Well, I'm already taking people shopping. I'm already sorting people's outfits out. That was part of my job anyway. So anyone who was relocating and working in other countries would come to me and ask me, like, what's the cultural differences? What do I need to keep in mind when I'm going to Dubai or the Middle East or Far East?
Because you do have to think about things like that. We don't think about, because we wear whatever the F we want.
There are things you have to think about, especially in the Middle East. And that was a lot of business for us. And the Far East as well. There's certain respectful times you need to take into consideration what you're wearing and things. So I just, one night, colicky baby in arms, completely pulling my hair out, decided, I'm going to become a personal shopper.
Why not?
I like shopping. It'll get me out of the house.
But this is an incredible example of where you can make money where you find the honey. You can, whatever fills you up with joy can also fill your bank account if you do and share what it is that you do with the right intention. You should be able to do that.
And very quickly though, where my work in the corporate world had got me into coaching and got me into more into self-development, which I'd studied in the States when I was over there, just traveling, and I'd come back and I'd done more courses and things. Very quickly, when I was taking countless women into the changing rooms, I was realizing it wasn't me helping them buy a brand new wardrobe wasn't going to solve their problem. No. And it wasn't going to help them in the long run, because they were buying, but then I wasn't there to give them the pep talk, and help them
get up here.
It's mindset,
here, isn't it?
It's mindset. And so really quickly I started to bring those coaching talents and skills into my work with whenever, and I elongated. So instead of just doing one-off things, I was starting to work with people on a longer basis and in a package. And I've done that for almost a decade now. And it's a lot of it's been referral based within the city. A lot of it has been corporate group workings and coaching within businesses. But I really wanted to be more present and more physically present with Dexter, because he's got his own challenges. And so I was like, no, and for the last, I don't know, 4 years, I've been trying to pull it online, and I have always held myself back. Because showing up on camera, I'm great behind the camera, I'm great at doing it for everybody else, but me being on camera, I was like, I had so little confidence in my own abilities for such a long time. But getting involved with Lisa, getting involved with yourself, being around Abby, being around Sarah, being around lots of amazing people who are just going out there and getting it done. It was like, okay, so I've put myself up against my back against the wall a bit. And next Monday, I'm kind of creating this, but with my own spin on my business.
You're having me on, aren't you? We're coming to talk.
Yeah.
Talk on it. You're right, I am.
Yeah. I could not have you.
Just because this is a great way for us to hang out, if anything. This is like we're going to get to catch up without having to kind of schedule it outside of work time. I love it. This is just really a way for me to be able to catch up with my friends.
I know. And I've been blown away because I kind of started putting it out there last week, and I started to kind of gauge the thought about it, and it's always having this morning loose women sort of thing going on has always been something that I've wanted. Abigail Holm will tell you that was kind of on my vision board years ago. And I've always held myself back from doing it. So it's been a case of, okay, no one is perfect in the current climate. Everyone's doing it from calling. So I can actually make this work for me. And so, I've committed to 10 a.m. every day. And like people are booking in. So I won't break a commitment like that.
No. And that's it. You become, the reason why this started for me was to get me out of bed. Because, you know, when I have people,
it's all out of bed. I'm not kidding you. Since you started this, I've been like 8 o'clock is like I'm in front of doing my makeup.
At least, you like, so many of you are like getting ready with me in the morning, and I just love it because then my face is on ready for the day. My calls start just after 9 o'clock, so I'm ready. I'm fired up. I've got the energy right. I'm hanging out with really inspirational people. It's just such a lovely way to start the day. But for me, it was this commitment to the group. It was the commitment to other people, and because it's always the same, isn't it? If you just do it for you, I'm gonna have an early morning tomorrow, and then you wake up and you go, I'll just have another 10 minutes. I'll just have another 10 minutes, and it's funny how as soon as we become responsible for other people, especially as women, all of a sudden we're kicking our own ass about it.
Well, I work a lot with archetypes and everything. Now, that might sound really crazy when it comes to fashion and style and that, but knowing what sort of energy you want to get into.
Yeah, so what do you mean by archetypes? Like, so explain it to me.
Okay, so most people around the world will understand and will have a connotation when I say mother archetype. Okay, so if you're a mother, you're a carer, you're a nurturer, you'll go above and beyond for them, you'll put them ahead of you. If you think of the warrioress archetype, it's someone who shows up, like you're in warrioress when you're there on stage, you're there and you're delivering and you're taking everybody with you, so you're leading from the front. And then you've got kind of the wisdom of kind of the higher woman, the wisdom woman, the mother nature, and all of that. These are different energies that people get into, and they're really easy for someone when we go through them to kind of identify, okay, that archetype is the one I need to get into if I'm going on stage or
a presentation or an interview or you know, and how you dress really has a direct impact on how you feel. Like for many people right at the start of lockdown was like, yes, we're going to be in our pajamas for the foreseeable future, and it's almost
I was like, no!
Don't get dressed because you've got to put yourself in the position to have a few days where you work in your pajamas, but it's got to the point now where I have to get dressed, because if I sit in my pajamas, I'm nowhere near as productive as what I could. And there are days when I do work from my bed, or you know, I do have a sloppy day.
We're totally allowed to.
But,
like right at the beginning of lockdown, before I got the dreaded COVID.
Yeah, because you got it. You've been poorly for weeks.
Before I got it myself, I was like banging on about the fact that you have to get up, get dressed, don't fall into that pit. Because I've been there, I've done that pit. It's not good. And because we work from home, a lot of us entrepreneurs, unless you're going out and doing appointments, you kind of you can. I love Nikki Louise James.
Yeah.
Her thing. She gets dressed and her husband's downstairs and he's hanging out in like his shorts and his t-shirt, and all her friends have said that she doesn't, like, she's crazy because she doesn't look any different. And she's like, well, I get dressed for work.
Yeah.
Because it gets her into the mindset, it gets her ready for the day. And that's exactly what we've got to do, even if we're homeschooling or not going out to appointments. We've got to maintain that. And it changes us from that energy, from sleepy, bedtime, into daytime, and then switch off again.
And we do it with kids.
Yeah.
So when we look at like parenting, for people that are parents, also people aren't parents, but for people that are parents, we put them into their pajamas at night time to help them realize that it is nighttime. We get them dressed in the morning to get them ready for the day. We've got to apply the same logic to ourselves. And when we talk about sort of discipline during this time particularly, we do have to apply a lot of the same logic to ourselves, the same love, the same care, the same allowances that we would apply for kids in stressful situations. Last couple of days have been tough at HQ. It has been tough. The kids have been at each other's throats. I can see out on my feed, people are hitting a wall right now. You know, so many parents out there, particularly parents, everybody's getting frustrated. But you know, we're cocooned with these people who are used to a significant amount of freedom in a different institution for a lot of their time.
So they go to school for like 6 hours a day, and they're mixing. They've got different energy, they've got different teachers for different things, and get it, just like they've had everything, love them, pulled from underneath them. You know,
so we're now 6 weeks in, and they're no wonder they're climbing the walls, because however much I'm trying to get them out every day, I'm like, it's becoming difficult. I have a lot of deliverables given the size of my business now. It's grown, especially now.
Well, we've had to adjust, haven't we? Because we usually have that 6 hour window where we cram everything in and then we come back to it once the kids go to bed. But I don't know about you, but my little one's not going to bed like he used to go to bed. Getting him to bed is a nightmare because he's not burning off enough energy. He's not getting out there. He's not having the amount of interaction. And like for him, it's a challenge because he has sensory processing issues. So he needs a lot of excess energy getting rid of. But he also needs a lot of attention to be able to work out what it is that's going through his head, because his head goes like 10 million miles an hour. But he's not expressing himself enough. He's not getting it out of his system enough. Love him. So we're hitting walls on everything. John's usually not here for a good couple of days a week. John's not here for a good couple of days a week most weeks. So me and him are not used to being around each other all the time.
So then you've just got everything's a pressure cooker. And it's really difficult sometimes, especially when they're climbing the walls and you're doing that. I'm finding myself doing that thing that's really frustrating, where I'm going like, get out of my room. I've got to do this, because if I don't deliver these things, then I'm like, we're going to come a crop. We're like, we need to keep things afloat. So it's getting to that point now where it's like everyone's started to get exhausted a little bit. Last couple of days have been really tearful. They've been arguing, and it's hard to like them. I'm not saying I don't love my kids any less, ever, but it's hard when they're frustrated and you're frustrated, for everybody to like each other, for them to like me, for me to like them.
We've really got to get back to almost retune into each other. Thing, because we've got to tune into them, they've got to tune into us, and it's like finding that good balance again. But trying to do that in a pressure cooker where we don't know what's going on outside, where we're all being told to stay at home, we don't know when things are going to lift, different things are happening around the world, which makes it a little bit more confusing.
I'm just laughing at Kelly. The sun came out yesterday and I shouted to the kids, get outside now. Some people don't have that like
No.
space though. Can you imagine living in a tower block or flats where you don't have that
I am
space to
so
send them?
grateful that we moved house back last summer, because we moved house last summer, and it's given us a whole kind of open plan kitchen living area that's got a wall of windows to a lovely garden.
Yeah.
Now, if we'd been back in the other place, it was so dark and so like to get outside the house was almost a chore. Because there wasn't somewhere where you could, like, I can sit inside where we are here. I can sit inside and work. He can see me working, but he can play out in the garden and he's quite happy.
Yeah.
Whereas where we were before, he couldn't see me working, so he wouldn't go outside because he needs that reassurance.
Yeah.
So I'm just like mega grateful that we moved when we did. But if we'd been a few years back where we were in our old townhouse, Jesus, there wasn't even a garden.
Oh God, it is so difficult. It really is difficult. And someone said to me a long time ago, and I shared this yesterday out on my personal profile, when you like them least, you've got to love them more, and you've got to apply that to yourself. So if you catch yourself saying the things that you don't want to say, you don't want to keep saying shut up. You don't want to keep saying calm down. You don't want to keep saying just watch this whilst I do this. More than really you should. If you're liking yourself as a parent, the least you've got to love yourself as a parent most. And again, like if we take this back through to style, because we're running out of time, and I do want to talk about style because that's why you're here. That people struggle. This is, it's inherent through our society that we don't love ourselves. It's difficult to like ourselves when we kind of look in the mirror. And how do you, as part of your process, because I love this, how do you get people to love what they're wearing and feel great? Because I love this. When you explain this, it's so beautiful.
So it starts before you even open your eyes in the morning. It's all about self-care and self-love, and it's all about getting to know you, to getting to know yourself. Like, we are in such a busy culture and such a busy world, even today in lockdown. We've got millions of things going on at the same time. And so it means that we end up forgetting who we are. We end up forgetting what we like, what lights us up, what we like to do, our hobbies, all things like that. So what I do is I get people to literally go back to basics and get to know themselves first, reconnect with themselves. And it means, like, it totally throws people, because they're like, well, I'm here to learn what to wear. So I teach them the obvious basics of what's your body shape and how to style or how to dress that body shape so you can create a really powerful wardrobe. But that's great until you need to work out what you actually like to wear, because otherwise everything you put in there is gonna not light you up and you're not gonna want to wear it. And so
it's not going to spark joy. If we're going to quote Marie Kondo, it's got to spark joy.
It's got to spark joy. Now, there has to, like, I love that movement to an extent. There has to be some like tangible stuff in there that you have to have.
I love this top. I don't know if it makes me feel joy. It's a very safe top, and it makes me feel comfortable. It sparks comfort and style at the same time.
It's about working from the inside and the outside. So I literally get them to go back to basics. We literally pare it back. We literally get to know what they like. And then we start looking at what they like, who's inspiring them. But then I get them to go one step further. Instead of just going, oh, I like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian style. It's like, but you don't have Kim Kardashian's body. So what is it that you like out there? What is it? And some people say it's the waist. Some people say, oh, it's the way that she carries herself, or it's the fabrics that she uses, or somebody else turns around and says, I love the way.
It's an aesthetic, isn't it? It's a look.
Yes.
And it's a variation on a theme, but it's still a look. She dresses like, I dress like Danny Wallace.
Yeah, exactly. And she is very bodycon.
Yes.
So then they'll have somebody else. They'll like somebody like, I had one client. She loved the way that Kim Kardashian showed off her curves, but she equally loved the style of the Duchess of Cambridge. She liked that pretty, girly sort of look. And those are two very different looks. But what we could do was we could utilize the softness and the ability to be able to bring in bows and print fabrics and nice soft fabrics with the shaping. So the cinching in of the waist and the layering of the Kim Kardashian sort of body shape that really worked for her body shape.
Yeah.
And it's about bringing in all the different elements, because we're all unique. And then you have to work out your golden thread.
Right. Okay.
And this is where
you made it with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah. Then you have to work out your golden thread, and that's your finishing touches. So I can get dressed in the morning and I can wear my jeans and my top, which is kind of my uniform, whether it's a little white tee or a little kind of jumper like this.
Yeah, yeah.
I can wear it and I can feel because I've not finished it off.
Right.
But the minute I put a bit of lippy on, I zhuzh up my hair, because my hair is kind of my hair is kind of one of my golden threads. I have like 2 or 3 golden threads. It's the put a little bit of lippy on, make sure my hair is looking good, and a pair of heels.
Right.
If we see my little wall of
they're displayed. I love that. They're properly displayed.
Yeah, I love my shoes. My shoes help me kind of ground myself and kind of get into where I need to be. And even if I'm doing lives like this, so it's finding your finishing touches. I've got clients that, you know, they were stuck in the corporate world. They were wearing all the horrible next corporate stuff, whereas at home and in their personal life, they were wearing biker chic. And they were wearing leathers and everything, studs, the whole 9 yards. So they had 2 very different wardrobes.
Yeah.
Once we got to the grips with the fact that that's what lit her up, we brought leather into her corporate wardrobe. Yeah. We put pelmets and we put leather inside her pockets. That helped her ground. Yeah. We realized that putting a leather belt on or wearing a jacket with leather lapels and leather piping on made her feel different, made her sit up, made her
more herself
and less self-conscious and worry less and be able to be who she wanted to be.
Yeah, and I mean, this works for men as well. So Wallace, he hates wearing anything around his neck. So once you put him in an office environment, he's having to wear a shirt every day or a tie. He just spends his entire day unhappy. I mean, now it's quite the opposite. He dresses like Rabbit fucking Nesbitt. So he's just in a shirt. He's like, we need to sort him out. We're like, he's in his vest top because he's this strange bear of a man that he's got this internal furnace. He's always hot. Yeah. But he's like wearing a vest and shorts like the entire time. That's his he's actually most comfortable wearing that.
Yeah. It's about that's all it is finding what you're comfortable wearing at.
You can't brave meetings looking like Rabbit Nesbitt though. Like we've got to
But then it's a case of just okay, that's what we identify what it is that he's really comfortable in, and then we elevate it. So then we look at, okay, so how can we recreate that sort of feeling in your clothes? It's just like when we say to people, right, you want that's on your goal board. What's that going to make you feel? Okay, how can you bring that feeling into your life now so that you get used to that feeling, so then it becomes real for you, and then all of a sudden you can start creating that more in your life. It's exactly the same with clothes.
In fact, there's one just here. So for him, he likes a hat.
Yeah.
He loves a hat. And he feels much more comfortable when he's got flat caps, beanie hats. He likes a trucker hat, but he doesn't wear one outside. It just adds
and
that.
It's like you with your headscarves.
Yeah.
You and your headscarves, because you are on point. When you're wearing your headscarves, you feel completed.
I put me on, and my face, so my makeup and my headscarf. When I put them on, I feel more like Danny Wallace, and when I take them off, I can step down a bit as well.
Yeah.
So I don't have to. I'm not as
And when we're
show.
speakers, when we're presenters, when we're speakers, when we're getting out there on camera, it helps to have that differential so that we
That
can
thing that's
relax
a bit new.
Yeah. And it's also when we're getting in front of the camera, because lots of people are now hitting cameras and hitting this sort of thing. You've got to remember, when you're in front of the camera, you've kind of got to turn up the volume that little bit more. The same as when you get on stage, you have to turn up the volume that little bit more. So you have to be a little bit more you and more animated. And we have to do that in our clothes as well.
And it helps you elevate the energy. So,
That's right.
there's no way. So I'm like running coaching calls all through the day. Again, like I couldn't just do that in my pajamas. And it isn't that I've got to put anything on for anybody, because I could. No. And everyone would be like, okay, so we're in pajamas now. Like, all right. But at the beginning of the day, sit down here, put my headscarf on. Someone's asking, how many hats and scarves do I have in my house? Not enough. So if anybody knows anybody out there, they've got to be the really long ones. People ask me all the time, how do I tie them? I'll show you guys another time. But they're the really, really long ones, and they're like folded over.
Yeah.
It's just like a winter scarf. So we've got, this is a deviation, but I just want to make sure that like we're talking to people that are watching, and that everybody's loving like what we're saying this morning. I love this. And they're loving Wallace Nesbitt. But Tina Walsh is asking, it's a little bit of an aside, but whilst we're here, I like to answer questions. Hi, ladies. Being an artist, I was lucky enough to be able to exhibit my work being on lockdown. And this is one of the questions I'm going to ask you in just a second, like how things have changed. We're running out of time, but I want to make sure that I ask everybody the same question, because pivoting is important, whether we like the word or not. I'm sick of the word, but we still have to look at different ways of doing things. Being on lockdown, I'm trying to promote my work to sell and finding it so hard. How is the best way in this situation to do this? Have you any tips, please? Now, lots of our fellow Queen Bees have been jumping on this little side thread with Tina, saying, be visible on your socials, get it on videos across social media with contact details. People know how to get in touch with you. It's special offers. You're not paying anybody anything to exhibit at the moment, so maybe you could like have a look at your pricing. What would you say to Tina, that right now, being an artist, somebody with a visual product, so just like styling, I guess, what tips would you give to Tina?
I don't know exactly what your art genre is and what type of art you do, but if you could do live demos of when you're doing it, if you can show like and capture the process and share why you're doing things, what inspires you, take people on a journey along that process, I think that will get people buying into you.
People
Tina,
buy from people, Tina. Yes.
And I think that something I saw yesterday was actually quite apt, was the people who are doing I think it's the portrait show. And what they're doing is they're doing online portraits. So if somebody is sitting for a portrait each day.
I want to sit for a portrait.
Yeah, I'll send you the details. But people can sit for portraits, and people all over the place are doing the portraits and sending them in onto the show. So maybe have a competition, like set people challenges to get involved, because now people are looking for hobbies.
Yes.
And people will buy into you as the artist, and when everything slows down, they'll still know you, and they might want to buy a piece of your work because they know the story behind it.
Yeah. What can you share about your technique? What can you actually share about yourself? And, and when you do share.
And your story to where you've got to this point in your artistry and stuff.
And bearing in mind, Tina, as well, that, given that, you're an artist, if it's a visual art that you create, then Instagram is definitely your friend. People will scroll. So learning about how to utilize hashtags and all of that sort of stuff is definitely an avenue to go down for you.
Yeah.
Right. So really quickly, you are a stylist. People are not going out anywhere. How have things changed? Because like me, you had the legs knocked out. We've only got a couple of minutes.
Yeah. So whereas I was doing a lot of one-to-one in-person stuff and everything like that, I'm now doing a lot of helping people to really nail their style, so discover their style, because they're like, don't know what it is. So we're using work from home as an opportunity to really clear out their wardrobes, really get
or the whole house,
like you. Really get clear about what works for them and what doesn't, and experimenting, getting into that wardrobe and actually trying on things that they normally wouldn't, because they've got time to kind of wear it and see what sort of energy comes up with it. And then making shopping lists that we can do online, getting to know new brands and new retailers and boutiques and things. I'm loving connecting with lots of independent boutiques.
Yeah, because we really need to support the indie brands right now, don't we? Yeah.
And on my show next, that's starting next week, that's one feature every single week. We're going to be showcasing different boutiques and brands and things, and like showing what they've got in stock and how to incorporate it into your wardrobe, how to work it with your body shape and all of that. So it is a case of, we're doing the pre-work before you go shopping. We're getting you all ready to go shopping. And then I'm sharing also, you know, how to dress for you. Yeah. So there's a big emphasis on making sure it works for you, so you don't waste anything.
So where do we find this then? So how do we come and hang out with you to learn about all this then, Chelle?
So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Business pages both are Chelle Shohet. Yeah. And you can also find me at the Style Lounge with Chelle Shohet on Facebook, which is my little, it's just like your IATQB,
your corner of the internet,
my little corner of the universe. And yeah, we've got lots of exciting things going. Danny, being my speaker coach, is like kicking me up the bum.
Yes, I am.
Making sure I get there.
You're going to be speaking, Chelle. I'll be inspired on the 10th of September, which I'm really excited about. I can't wait to be working on your talk with you, and we're just getting into the meaty bit of that now. So we have run out of time for today, Chelle. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us and for sharing your thoughts with us. You are amazing, and I love you very much. I'm going to pop you backstage. If you want to hang around for a second, please do. Give us some love, you guys. Chelle, show it, everybody. So that was our show for today. So I hope you've had a lovely hour with us this morning. I'm going to wrap things up now. If you are not a member of the IATQB Hive, please do put Hive in the comments and we will pop you over. Or just search in the Facebook search column, IATQB Hive. It stands for I Am the Queen Bee. Come and hang out with us in the Hive. I am with Dave McPartland tomorrow. So excited to share him with you. He is a local head teacher to here, but also a little bit of a national treasure in the area of education. So he was on Britain's Got Talent. I don't know if you watched it a couple of years ago, where he did the whole Don't Stop Me Now with Flake Fleet Primary School. He's also made a bid for Christmas #1 a couple of years ago. He went head to head with some of the massive big names in music. He's just the most wonderful and tenacious and loving guy for his school and for education. So you can catch him actually on BBC Bite Size. So our Daisy's been watching him. He's been on the 9s to 11s on BBC Bite Size, for anybody who's been watching that. But he will be with me at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Dave McPartland, talking all things education and fun and frolics, and also his journey to stardom. So please do join me at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then next week, of course, we have got some incredible guests. I will share more with that on you, some more on that with you tomorrow. If you don't already follow me across the socials, make sure you do. Why aren't you following me? It's at the Queen Bee Danny across the socials. Go and hop on over to Instagram, because I do little bits over on Instagram as well. And I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Have an incredible day. We're nearly at the weekend, everybody. I am ready to shake my pom-poms tomorrow. I've ordered pom-poms to celebrate all of our wins of the week tomorrow. I've also ordered a cheerleader outfit. I'm not even lying. That is going to be my style tomorrow. Chelle is going to have a heart attack. I will see you all in the morning. Have a wicked day. I love you very much. See you later.